Hello, hello. We're back again for another Wet Ink Wednesday, and this time on my call, I have Atwas, who is a actor and an actual play creator and contributor to Never Going Home now. So, Atwas, say hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, we have been going through. I want to hear about everyone's nerdy history and their origin story because it sometimes sometimes people do just stumble into game design and contributions to the industry, but usually they've already got their foot in the nerdiness in order to be in a place where they fall into the next stage of like being a creator. So I want to know how you came to like, how you came to role playing games in the first place. Like, what is your entree into this wonderful little hobby that we have?
Oh man. Yeah, no. Thinking about it, it might be a little bit of an odder one. I feel like most hobbyists I meet are just, I've been playing tabletop RPGs for so long, et cetera, et cetera. But I really I only started regularly playing tabletop when I was included in another actual play that some of my friends were doing. I was familiar with it, familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. I played a few one-off sessions here and there in high school, but it wasn't until I actually started being this like in a group of creators and had friends who did that I actually began doing tabletop stuff. Which of course started with Dungeons and Dragons 5e. It's super popular. Then it's called Cthulhu. Then from that, the natural outgrowth was, oh hey Atlas, you really like Call of Cthulhu, and you've been interested in World War I. I found this game. I mean, yes, yes, excellent. That sounds wonderful. So yeah. Uh, my basic outgrowth, my tabletop pipeline is um the voice acting for video game musicals, meeting people, being invited to an actual play, and then finally getting to the point where, yeah, no, I want to run things, and then I cannot get this thing out of my head.
Well, I think you mean you said I think it's a pretty typical pipeline, like
Hmm.
start with the current version of Dungeons and Dragons, which many people,
Ah, true.
for some people that's goes back to 1976, and for other people it's 5e, which is has a slightly newer vintage, but it is inevitably the popular,
Mhm.
broadest reach role playing game. And then Call of Cthulhu from that is a natural outgrowth. And then Never Going Home is a natural outgrowth from that. Like, I think this is a very typical path. You're
Mhm.
just on an accelerated track here. Um,
Yeah, yeah, basically.
so you mentioned the voice acting, and so you is
Yes.
that like what was that like a major career thing, or like is that just something that you have also done? You're are you like a voice actor?
I'd say I'd be more of like an amateur or hobbyist voice actor. There was an audition for a project. I was just coming out of college. Someone posted this audition on Reddit. I take a look and I'm like, I just played this game and it affected me emotionally. I'm going to audition for it. I got cast in it. The project got very big and very popular, and just kind of gelled with all the people there. But like I've done some voice acting for other things, often musical and singing type stuff, because I have that sort of training as well. So I don't have any official credits per se, but I've done a lot of things for people on the internet. I guess I also did some, even before that, I did some live casting for video games. So like competitive video games. I was a caster there
Oh,
for a while. Yeah.
all right. So you've had lots of things that have prepared you for like how you came to my attention as a
Hmm.
streamer of a of an actual play of Never Going Home. And we're gonna talk about that in just a second. But I do want
Hmm.
to ask you about if you've done voice training and stuff like that. Do you have a favorite like vocal piece like from the canon that you like to
Oh.
perform? Is that a question you're prepared to answer?
Um, I mean, I can think of a number of songs that just kind of like come to my repertoire. One of them is the song that I'm famous for. It's a lyricized adaptation cover of a track called Hopes and Dreams from Undertale the musical. So that's fun, big in my range. The other ones, there are songs from City of Angels, which is like this Broadway, more like off Broadway London musical about this like more detective, except he's actually the book character. So it's like a parallel storyline between the author and his character. And so there are a few songs from that are good. Tennis Game, particularly, is quite choice. And I'm also Cabaret is just it's such a
Mm.
powerful show. And the first time that I was really involved with it, I was in a tech role, but it just basically any song from that show just sticks in your head, and it's good. It's good. They're all good. So yeah, those are what come to mind.
All right. So very, very solidly Broadway, musical theater, musical theater.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's fine. I wanted to know, like,
Mhm.
that's great. So I want to ask you about your actual play.
Okay.
The I know I see the book behind you there. You've got the Bones and the Dust up on the shelf. And I know that's what you've been going through. And again, you came to my attention as someone who was like, hey, I'm gonna run this. I want to like put the logo on the like thumbnail. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Like, and almost in a very like I mean, I don't want to undersell your accomplishments, but you sort of like a very very like oh please, if it wouldn't be too much of a bother, sir, like kind of like way of going about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, no, please use the promote the game, do the thing that you want to do, like, is the response that I gave to you. So uh it, and then it's like, I know it's been I haven't watched all of it, I will admit, but like I started it and it
Mhm.
keeps going. It's like a big thing. It's one of the longest ones. Obviously, it's the longest one that I know about, which, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that there isn't somebody who's committed to go through the whole book and succeeded on Twitch or something like that that I don't know
Mhm.
about. But like yours is the longest running that I know about, and trying to go through that whole Bones in the Dust campaign. So
Yeah.
first of all, congratulations on what you've achieved so far. But tell me about putting it together. And it sounds like you maybe had a cast already that you brought in, or did you have to find some people? And like, what, I mean, I guess there's so many questions to ask, but like,
Mhm.
I want to know why you wanted to do it first, and then we can talk about how you made it happen after.
Okay. Yeah, so Bones in the Dust is actually basically my big uh, professional doing this for realsies foray into the actual play. Initially, I was doing just a series of like 1 and 2 shots on a different channel because I had to fill a time slot because one of my friends who ran a game was no longer able to run that game. So I was like, I can put Never Going Home in there. It's kind of the same vibes as your Call of Cthulhu game. So we started off with that, just went through a bunch of missions from a bunch of different books. And then I got invited to go over to his channel, uh, sort of more semi permanently as one of the GMs there. And I was like, I'm running Never Going Home. And this is non negotiable. He's like, yeah, okay. I love it. And the people in my cast who are just exceptional. They're all actors in their own right. I met them through, the online voice acting scene and all that. And I played with them quite a bit. I think, yeah, no, every single one of them was involved in some capacity in that like original Call of Cthulhu game. Except, one was the keeper, now he's one of my soldiers. So it was just ever since I started, like I just started doing more and more research into World War I. Fascinating to me. I picked up the book. I started reading it. I'm like, wow, I've never really run a game before, but I'm running this one. Absolutely. And after that, I'm like, well, we want a series. Let's pick up a campaign dossier and go from there and see how that goes. And it's been a ride so far, definitely. I'm very I guess blessed to be with such a collection of just great character actors as well, who just take what I provide and just run with it. It's so cool. It's so Yeah, so yeah, the AP is a little long, but that's mostly because my players are wild and just go off and do awesome things.
Yeah. I am playing a game myself currently, and we got uh, there's some characters who want to like buckle down and get the mission done, and then there's some other characters who want to run off and do like side quests, and
Hmm.
it is a meshing those two together is fun in and of itself. It's like creates an opportunity for like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and they're going to role play this tension that their
Yes.
players are playing. Their characters
Hmm.
are having this tension, but like the players are wanting to go in these different directions, and so they're going to figure it out. And the longer it takes, the more the closer the threats will arrive. So yeah,
Hmm.
I totally get
Exactly.
that's like you could generate a lot of content by just yeah, the yeah, anything just let the players play the game, and then
Hmm.
you find out what happens. um so being in this sort of uh I have I've done actual plays, but only like on other people's channels. Like I've never built
Hmm.
a following on like my own channel. I've been a player in some other people's games and stuff like that, but it isn't like a core part of what I've done. So like what kind of stuff I mean I just don't even know. So what kind of stuff is the kind of stuff you have to think about to like make a consistent actual play
Ooh.
happen from I week to week or however often you produce it.
Hmm.
What's the and what medium? I assume it's on. Do you stream it on Twitch and then it's rebroadcast or reposted to YouTube? Like, what are your platforms and what's the behind the scenes kind of stuff
Hmm.
that?
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Last question first, because that's the easiest. Originally, yes, we were doing it live on Twitch every week for quite a little bit. Then we had some scheduling issues, and my producer slash owner of the channel slash one of my soldiers, he was also having some issues with a game he was running called Between, and he's like, you know what, we're moving to a pre-recorded thing because it's easier. We don't have to worry about having to schedule everyone at the same time. So at this point, we're pre-recording, sending it, rebroadcasting it on Twitch, and then having the VODs posted on YouTube. But originally, oh yeah, it was all live, baby. Every every transition, every scene change, it's me fiddle because I'm the one running it. So I'm the one running Open Broadcasting Studio. So I'm the one recording everything. I have my I have Foundry up. I have OBS running. I have Zoom going so I can capture all the webcams. I made all the overlays. It's a lot of work, but it's something, Never Going Home is a game that I've been fascinated with, and just that sort of just even that turn of the century, everything that happened there, that vibe, the aesthetic, the events, the people, it was very important to me. So yeah, no, it's definitely, yeah. And as for other things that are important, player chemistry, so
Mm,
important, so important. Like, I only have 3 players in my actual play, which is usually way less than most channels from what I understand, but we all know each other, we've all played together, we all know how to bounce off one another. My players are very conscientious of the fact that we are on a show, and we're on, we want to make a cool narrative for people, we want things to go. I mean, it's still a game. People are still going to fail. There's still going to be troubles, but it's on us to make that interesting and to keep things going and to keep people invested, and like just having people who can sort of pick up so intuitively what I'm throwing down, or pick up that, mm, maybe we should move things along, and like help with the pacing there. It's so cool. So yeah, definitely one of the big main things is player chemistry. It's so important.
mm. Yeah, and so I guess that helps that you had worked with this cast
Yeah.
before, and I say cast, and I think you said cast. So like, do you think of it as like a cast that is making this show, or are you more like, we're all gonna like the famous phrase from Power About the Apocalypse is play to find out.
Mhm.
Like you don't know what's gonna happen, so it's like is it more improv or is it more scripted in that way? Like is it um you know I'm sure there's elements of each, but like what do you
Mhm.
think?
It is It's basically entirely improv. We talk about things beforehand in terms of like, like we came together to create their characters because I have a very strong like history research background. So I'm like, okay, here's the setting, here's the dossier, here's what you would know because you're this nationality, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. But otherwise, everything comes out in emergent role play and improv. And so yeah, it is very much a play to find out, but I call them cast because I mean ultimately we are all acting in this, even if it's not scripted, which it's not. And it sure gets hairy sometimes, but yeah, no, it's the dice rolls are real and they are good at the game, which helps a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. So thank you for all of that cool insider information. And
Yeah.
I want to ask you also about like because I mean I can tell the internet the story, like there's not that much
Mm-hmm.
story there. Like we're looking to create more content, and you were known to us as a content creator. And so we're like, hey, Atwas, do you want to write an adventure for the next round of books? And you said yes, and you've written one. And so give us a overview. You don't have to like tell the whole thing, but like what captured your imagination. What'd you write
All
for
right.
the Beyond the Veil book?
Yes. So I wrote a mission set during the siege of Kut Alamara, which is a very, very small town in what is modern day Iraq, I believe. And it is just the siege itself is, please look it up if you ever get the chance, read some things about it. It is truly one of those places, one of those times, one of those experiences that is just in and of itself so harrowing and horrifying, honestly. So you're stuck here, you're surrounded, you ran out of supplies 30 days ago. And so something about sieges in particular really seems to me kind of underline that vibe that Never Going Home is going for, that sort of against all odds, the desperation, the we need to keep moving on and survive no matter what. The mission is what matters. So like the other one that I had in mind was a siege of Fort Vaux, but I chose Kut because the Mesopotamian campaign is pretty underrepresented in a lot of World War I media, from what I understand, and just sort of leaning into that idea of scarcity and hardship really was super interesting to me, and especially writing rules that figured into that scarcity and how to gamify it and have that underscore the narrative of the mission itself was just very fun, and I hope that people find it as interesting as I did. It is mean though. It's a siege. It is mean, uh,
Yeah, it is.
but
It is a
not.
mean adventure. You might want to not play it first, or as if you're playing to play
Yeah.
a campaign. um, uh, but yeah, I think you did a great job on it as a
Thank you.
as a contribution to the adventure. And I believe your first like written adventure, right? You don't have like
Yeah, my
writing
first officially
credits,
written
right?
adventure. Yeah,
Well,
like I've homebrewed some stuff before naturally, but this is my first on paper. Have to think about what people who are not me will need to use, that sort of thing. So yeah, this will be my first tabletop writing credit.
yeah. Well,
Which thank
I
you.
think it. Oh, no problem. I mean, you're like, I think so many of the people that are involved in this particular wave of the project are people who were fans who came to us with like ideas, and we're like, yeah, okay, great, you've taken the time to introduce yourself, so great, do that idea in the book, or do whatever, fill this hole that we need writing for. So it's been great to you know take the relationship of knowing you as like someone who emailed me one time to a much bigger level of like now collaborating on the game.
Hmm.
So it's great. And we've done that with a couple people for this project. So I think it's good. I think people are going to like it. It is mean, but that is the point of it. So
Yeah.
great. So I think before, I don't think I have any other questions for you. I think
Okay.
I just want to hear where people can find you on the internet if they want to listen to the Undertale musical, or watch your
Oh
actual
man.
play that we've been talking about, or what other places do you can you be found in the ether that is the internet?
Yeah, most places, if you search up Atwas, you'll find me. Otherwise, it's Atwas Stage. That would be my Twitter, though I'm not very active there. Most of my stuff I do on YouTube, on other people's channels. So Undertale the Musical, you can find that on Man on the Internet. It's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. And the actual play that we've been talking about, my Bones in the Dust campaign, is on a channel called Critical Failsafe. And I would really appreciate if people checked it out because we're really proud of it. And I think it is a very, it's, it definitely is something high stakes, high tension, just, yeah, it's good stuff, if I do say so myself.
Well, we asked you to, so you did say it, yeah, I want to catch up even more now that I've talked to you. So I'll be it's on my to-do list right here beside me, and I'm gonna make sure I do it before too much longer. Um, so Awas, thank you so much for your time today and talking to us about your history and your work and your contribution here. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. We'll see you in the ether space.